Welcome. I'm Lizzie Brooks, and this is Lizzie Brooks Yoga and Fitness. So today is a topic that I really want to get into a little bit, and this is a very short video, but I think when you hear from a yoga teacher who's been teaching for 21 years that she nearly quit yoga, it might be something that you didn't expect. So it might be something that you don't hear a lot, because I think a lot of people, they see yoga teachers and they're doing all this yoga and they think, wow, it's easy for them, they love it, it's what they do. But this is why I nearly quit yoga. And so I just want you to know that number one was that my first experience in yoga was equally as good as it was bad for me. So I was doing it, it was all new and awkward and super weird and kind of wonderful. And I just thought there's something to this. I could just feel the way that my body was moving in ways it never had. And I said, okay, there's something to this, it must be healthy. And at one point we were doing an Ardha Chandrasana, or a half moon. So it's sort of here, and there was a bind option where you could grab your leg and open it like this. Hope I'm in the frame. If I'm not, you're standing and you're holding your leg back like this. And the teacher, with the best intentions in the world, came over, pushed on my sacrum, and pulled on my bind. And I have never been the same since. So being injured in a yoga class, I think, happens to a lot of people. Sometimes it happens on our own when we're just doing something and we accidentally hurt ourselves. And sometimes it's at the hands of an instructor. So let this be a lesson. If you do not wish to be touched in yoga, please say so. And you can do it in a very nice way, and the teacher understands. Like, okay, and if they don't understand, then maybe try another teacher. They should understand. Set your boundaries. That almost made me quit, because I thought, am I gonna get hurt over and over? But then I realized, okay, I just have to have the support internally for myself to advocate for myself and say, no, thank you, unless I really trusted the teacher. The other one was just, as I was learning, as I started to go more and more, I felt like I looked around the room and these people were amazing. And some of them were and some of them weren't, but the ones that were amazing were really amazing. And I was taking a form of yoga called Ashtanga, or Hatha Flow. And there were just some people who had been doing it a lot longer than me, or maybe they were just naturally more flexible or strong than me, or had been practicing a long time. And I thought, well, I'm not going to get there. So part of, I think, why people quit or nearly quit is that they just have this sense that people are watching them and they're comparing themselves, and it doesn't feel supportive. But what I want to impart to you is that if you can stick with it and understand that everyone's in their own bubble, everyone's kind of thinking about themselves, they're not thinking about you. And also just understand that we're all going to be at different levels, and all of our yoga is going to look different. Then I think the better off we'll be. Also, do your yoga, as I've learned over the years, for what it feels like inside, not for what it looks like outside. So the other thing that almost drove me to quit was that I started to do too much yoga. And that's because, this is a two-part thing, because of the other reason why I almost quit, is because I was told by more than one instructor that if I just kept working at it, if I just kept doing this or that I was eventually going to get to this peak posture. And a lot of those peak postures were really deep back bending postures. And over time, I actually found out that my spinous processes, so the bones at the back of my spine, they actually come together fairly quickly in a back bend. So I would actually have to kind of break through bone to do some of these Cirque du Soleil type back bends that other people were doing. But if a teacher has told you that if you just keep working on it, eventually it will come, that might be right, but that might be wrong. So understand that it's not always you, it's not always your level of practice. Well, it is you. It could be just the shape of your bones or your soft tissue, or something anatomically that prevents you from doing something. Not all postures are for everyone. So we need to be selective about those postures. And yeah, I'm glad I didn't quit, but I had that feeling of, okay, if I'm never gonna get there, but they're telling me and I'm working so hard and I'm not doing it, then what's it worth? I'm glad I stuck with it because there were other teachers who then clued me in into the reality of the fact that we're all different. And then when things get busy, when life gets really stressful and hard and you are spreading yourself thin, sometimes yoga or exercise or fitness is the first thing that gets knocked off the list. And I went through a time in college and kind of throughout my life of having some illnesses and also just being stressed and also having deadlines in jobs and in college and things like that. Of course, I'm 41 now, so it was a long time ago, of taking a really long break from doing the practice. And then I think what happens sometimes psychologically is we think like we're done. We think, well, we did it at that time, but we just don't do it anymore. Or we've been away for so long, now we're gonna be so rusty and it's like, oh, we have this embarrassment, we don't really wanna get back into it or kind of go through getting back into it. But if I can impart this, I'd love to impart that we all take pauses, and some pauses are longer than others, but they're a pause, not a stop. So just like when you pause in a book and you put the bookmark in, you might not pick that book up for another year, but you can still pick up where you left off. You might have to read a few chapters ahead to kind of get back to where you were. If you see where I'm going with this, you might have to work a little bit differently to get back to where you were, but you will get back to where you were and you will be glad you did. It is a pause, not a stop. So I have to say, after all these many, many years, 21 years of teaching yoga, because I started teaching in college before I was even certified, because you could do that back then, not anymore. I am so, so, so happy that I didn't quit and that there was always a teacher or some words of wisdom that kind of kept me going. So advocate for yourself. Notice if you take a long break, it's just a break, it's just a pause. Listen to your body. Understand that every body is different and all the different abilities. Yours is unique and can do things others can't do. We're just all different. It's not a one size fits all. So please stay with your yoga. If I can help you in any way, put in the comments the type of videos you want. And if you got any value to this, please hit the thumbs up and subscribe to the channel so I can keep sharing these messages with you. Thank you so much. Namaste.